All right, so we're going to go ahead and try to solve some of these quadratic functions. Some of them are actually cubic and some of them are quartic. Real quick, I am skipping this page 17, so go ahead and get to page 18 of your notes. All right, so if we look at number 9, let's kind of talk about inverse operations, right? This is an x squared, and we need to get rid of the square. We need to get x by itself. So the inverse of squaring something is square rooting it. So we're going to take the square root of both of these. Now, an important idea. When you add in a square root for something of an even power, you always need to do plus minus. So we'll say even root equals plus minus. All right, when it's even, you need to do plus minus. So the square root of x squared is x, right? And if you think about what we've been working on, right? If we had x squared in there, you would do 2 divided by 2, and a 1 pops out, so you get an x. And then the square root of 25 we should know is 5. So your answer here would be x equals plus minus 5. All right, let's go ahead and try the next one. So in this one, we need to get the x by itself. That's going to be your goal here. So first, let's get rid of the 5. So when we do that, we get 2x squared equals 18. We're going to divide by 2. I get x squared equals 9. So again, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. It's an even number, so I got to do plus minus. And I get x equals plus minus 3. All right. Let's go ahead now and try 11. Now 11's a little bit different. Now there's something in there with the x. But that's okay. We're just going to, again, take the square root of both sides. Now, in this case, you just need to get when I say get it alone, you need the thing that's being squared to be by itself. So here it was just the x being squared, so we had to get that by itself. Here it was just the x being squared. But now it's this x minus 4, so we need to kind of isolate this x minus 4. We're going to take the square root of both sides. So we're going to get x minus 4 equals plus minus 6. All right. Now at this point, it would be wise to kind of make 2 separate equations. We're going to do x minus 4 equals 6 and x minus 4 equals negative 6. All right, so then we will get x equals, and then we have to add 4 to both sides, 10. Add 4 to both sides, x equals negative 2. So those would be your 2 solutions there. All right, let's go ahead and try 12. All right, so again, the thing that's being squared is already by itself, so we can go ahead and take the square root of both sides, add in your plus minus, all right? So we'll go ahead, we get x plus 3 equals plus minus, and you get root 54, okay? Now, we already learned, right, how to kind of break down this root 54. So we could break 54 down into 9 and 6. And then, of course, for that, we get 3 squared times 6, and we can pull the 3 out. So we get plus minus 3 root 6. So now we've got our x plus 3. So now we're going to go ahead and do that thing where we split apart and do 2 separate equations. So we've got x plus 3 equals plus minus 3 root 6, and x plus 3 equals plus 3 root 6 equals minus 3 root 6. And we can do minus 3 minus 3, minus 3 minus 3. And what you end up with is x equals negative 3 plus 3 root 6, and x equals negative 3 minus 3 root 6. And those would be your 2 answers there. All right, so for number 3, let's go ahead. Now, we notice how this guy is not by himself. You need to get whatever's being squared by itself. So we need to get rid of the 16. So now you've got x minus 2 squared equals 9 over 16. And now we can take the square root. So we get x minus 2 equals, and of course we got to do our plus minus. And this one you could actually just take the square root. It's very nice. You get 3 over 4. So we've got x minus 2 equals 3 over 4. And x minus 2 equals negative 3/4. So we can go ahead and add 2. For this, I don't really care if you use decimals. I don't care if you use your calculator and get a mixed number. I'm going to use decimals just because it works nicely for me. I know that 3/4 is 0.75. So this would equal 2.75. And then when I add 2 over here, I end up with 1.25. And that would be my 2 answers there. All right, so for number 14, again, we got to get this guy being cubed by himself. So we're going to divide by 2. We're going to get x cubed equals 27. So now, notice how this one's a cube. So we need to take the cube root, okay? So the cube root, and notice, first off, this is an odd power. So odd power, we do not do the plus minus, all right? And so we're going to take the cube root of both sides. Cube root of x cubed is x. Cube root of 27. Now, one thing I want to point out, you are able to do cube roots on your calculator for ones that like actually work out. When you have to break it down manually, you'll get a decimal. But I'll show you real quick. You are able to do, ooh, this isn't the one I wanted. So I got too many calculator apps on my iPad. Skip. All right. So if you go to math, so if you click that math button on your calculator and go down to this cube root here, you get a cube root, and you could type in 27, and it will tell you what it is. Now, this is only going to work with perfect cubes. Obviously, if you do, like, cube root, if you do cube root of something that's not a cube root, like, let's just say I did 28. It's going to give me a gross number, and this tells you that you need to manually break it down. But if it's a perfect cube, it will give it to you. So anyhow, cube root of 27 is 3. So we're done there. All right, next one. So we're going to go ahead. We've got what's being squared by itself, so we're going to take the square root of both sides. Go ahead, see if you can do this one on your own. All right, so when you do this, you get x plus 5 equals, and then you get root 8. Now we can break root 8 down into 4 times 2, all right? And that's root 2 squared times 2, and we can take the 2 out, 2 root 2. All right? Oh, and I forgot my plus minus. Oof. There we go. So then at this point, we can go ahead and split it up. We get x plus 5 equals 2 root 2. X plus 5 equals negative 2 root 2. Minus 5, we get x equals negative 5 plus 2 root 2. Minus 5, we get x equals negative 5 minus 2 root 2. And those would be your 2 answers there. All right. Next one. See if you can try this one. So the first thing you would do here is divide by 3. So you get x minus 2 squared equals 12. And then next, we would take the square root of both sides. We could do plus minus. So we get x minus 2 equals plus minus root 12. And of course, we can break 12 down into 4 times 3. So we get that 2 squared times 3. Bring the 2 out. We're going to have plus minus 2 root 3. And then at this point, we can split it up. All right, then we're going to do plus 2 plus 2. X equals 2 plus 2 root 3. X equals 2 minus 2 root 3. All right, and this one looks scary, but it's not too bad. We just need to get this guy by himself. All right, so we're going to add 5. So then we get 2x minus 4 to the 4th. And then this plus 5 is 162. And we got to divide by 2. So we get x minus 4 to the 4th, excuse me, equals 81. Now, notice this one is a cube, or I'm sorry, it's a to the power of 4. All right. So the opposite of power to, or the inverse of power 4 to 4 is going to be the 4th root. Okay. And then remember when I said even powers? 4 is an even power, so you need to add in the plus minus. And let's see if we can find out what the 4th root of 81 is on our calculators. So if you go to math, now you're going to go ahead and go to this n root, okay? And the cursor will be up there, and you can go ahead and type in 4 and make a little 4 there. And then we want an 81. And look, it's 3. And what that means is that 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81, okay? So we get x minus 4 equals, and then we're going to get plus minus 3. We can split this up. We get x minus 4 equals 3. X minus 4 equals negative 3. Plus 4, we get x equals 7. Plus 4, we get x equals 1. So those would be our 2 answers there. For the second half here, go ahead and try these. See if you can do this. You're working on factoring. So just to remind you, you're figuring out what multiplies to give you a 24 and adds to give you an 11, right? So we would do x, and then for 24, the numbers that are going to work are going to be plus 8, x plus 3. Hopefully these will be a review. So go ahead, try these guys out. I'll go ahead and do number 22 because it's one of the ones with the leading coefficient. So you're going to go ahead and multiply this. You get a 2. We need to figure out what multiplies to give us a positive 2, adds to give us a negative 3. That's going to be negative 2 and negative 1. So we're going to do that thing where we put the 2x in front, minus 2 minus 1. Then you got to factor something out. So you get x minus 1, 2x minus 1. And that would be your answer there. But the rest you should be able to factor. So go ahead and give those a shot.